It is NBA All-Star Weekend, right? It's right up the street in the Bay Area.
Yay, yay.
Um, so we talked last weekend about how much money was around Super Bowl and connecting and what it can do for a small
Mhm.
brand. What is the difference now for these type of events? Like, how does one stand out in the sea of events and activations? Because everyone kind of knows the playbook at this
Mhm.
point,
Mhm.
what's expected when you go to an event. Everybody's trying to do a pop-up. Everybody's going to have a live podcast show of something. Everybody's going to have, a networking thing. Everybody's going to have an honorary, an awards brunch or dinner
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
something of that type of measure. So, how do you stand out and fit in between to make an impact on weekends like this? Is it better to sit out at this point
I
sometimes?
think I think Super Bowl you probably can't sit out because it just means so much because Super Bowl is a celebration of the NFL season, not a midpoint in the season like All Star is. Like I don't see a lot of people from say New York coming out to San Francisco unless they absolutely have to, or from Chicago, Atlanta, etc., to San Francisco. Um, but there's some brands that are going to rise up. Like for me, Adidas is going to rise up. One, they tend to be more cultural than the other performance sports brands. Two, you got Dame Lillard, who's an Oakland dude, and then you have Anthony Edwards, who's kind of their best player coming off the Olympic gold, and he's a talent, he's a personality, a
Don't you
character.
feel that their commercials with Anthony and the approach that they're taking with him remind you of like old 90s
Hmm.
Nike's commercials?
It does. I mean, you're seeing the rawness of him, who he is. I think it's smart. I like to see some other stuff out of him. I was looking at the old Penny commercial from '97 when he just had Tyra Banks answering the door and
His
everybody.
Super Bowl
Yeah,
party?
that one.
Yeah.
Oh man, I mean that's the kind of classic stuff. Unfortunately, we don't get now. I think the content play isn't. But I would say in the Bay, yeah, from what I gather, Nike and Jordan are going to advertise because that's what they can do. I mean, they don't have any real athletes that are really dominant right now, so they don't have a lot to build around other than product. And once again, just advertising, having the money to do advertising. Um, I think
What
the
about Under Armour and Steph Curry?
well, I was just going to say, what I'd like to see, and if I was, had a voice, I would say this is Steph's last big moment in the Bay. It's not promised. It's not promised that he'll get to a championship. It's not promised that the basketball world will be able to celebrate him collectively like a moment like this weekend. But Under Armour just don't do that kind of stuff. It
Mm.
would be perfect for Steph to have that, but they don't spin like that. They don't have the cultural connection like that. They don't have the cachet, and I'm not sure that Steph alone can lift it. But that would be really really interesting. I think for the average brand, you just got to go there to network. It's now if on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you got to decide which four things you're going to go to in the morning, afternoon, evening, and late night because everybody's doing lunches, brunches, gatherings, things like that. I would guess that Michael Rubin at Fanatics,
Right.
he owns that whole athlete thing
The
at this
whole
point.
athlete lifestyle
Yeah,
aspect.
he does the Hampton party.
Hmm.
He
He was
Super
out in
Bowl.
Vegas.
That yeah,
Yeah.
he's the guy. So and everybody's following. Unfortunately, the Players Association has really lost
The luster.
the luster
That used to be Saturday
that
night.
used
That
to
party used to be everything. You used to
everything.
have to know somebody really, really well to
And
get into that event.
and so now it's with Michael Rubin. Which I don't like to see. I would think that the players would do
Do they
more.
still have the Jordan? Because you mentioned last week about the Jordan party and the prestige. Do they still have that? And are does seating still happen like it used to? Like because with social media, do they still do like lounge? A seating is where celebrities, athletes, influencers at this
Hmm.
point would come to receive product from the brand and get a brand experience. So they would come in and they'd be ideally exposed to the brand in a different light, in a way that they hadn't before, and treated and leave with a nice package of product, depending upon your level, what comes in the package.
Yeah, there's still seedings because, Jordan's going to do a launch of something that Michael Jordan used to wear. Nike's probably going to have a dope Air Force One or something like that. And then new brands into the space as well, because you not only have celebrities and athletes, but now you have this influencer that can get that seeding box or that gift box exposure to an array of people. So seeding is in and of itself its own animal, so to speak.